amazingly, I got a job as like a receptionist at a big post-production house in New York called Magno Sound, where and I didn't even know what post-production meant. And that, as it turned out, meant editing, sound editing, mixing. And so I started looking over people's shoulders and seeing what they did in the sound department, and sitting in, like sneaking into mixes and seeing how they did the mixing of the sound. And I also was able to meet a lot of filmmakers who were editing in the editing rooms at the facility. And simultaneously, I took a class at NYU that was like continuing ed, just a night class that was film production, because I didn't know anything about how films were really put together. So that led me to realize, oh, okay, so we have a project where we write a little bit of a script, we have a shoot, lighting, camera, development, and then editing, which I didn't know much about. And I realized, oh, this is where the story actually happens. This is where you can actually make everything come together in all kinds of possible ways. And I just loved that. And so from that experience at the school, I just said, anybody who's got a film to edit, I'll do it. And it was just at the, film school there. But simultaneously, I was able to work at night, also helping out some of the filmmakers who were editing their films in the place I was working. And at that time, it was easy because it was film as opposed to computers. So there was always a need for somebody to help out, because you like take all the film strips and put them in order and label things. And there was just a lot of busy work in an editing room. So that was great. So I learned a lot that way. And then I realized I could actually try to make that into my work. So for a couple of years, I waitressed and I volunteered in editing rooms so that I could just get the experience. But in New York at that time, it was actually really fantastic because there were only pretty much 3 facilities where there was just floors of editing rooms. So one room would be Martin Scorsese, the next room would be a little documentary, the next room would be Woody Allen, the next room would be a little feature independent project. So you'd go door to door with your resume and meet tons of people. So it was great. It was really great. So little by little, I was able to get an actual paying job. And that led to Ishtar, which almost everyone in New York worked on Ishtar. And that was my sort of big break in a way as an apprentice sound editor. So pretty much I was cleaning film all day long, but it gave me a little window into, the way big features were done. And as I say, I mean, to me, the fascinating thing was how, like in the school program, the continuing ed, how you could see how editing was where it all happened, at least in my mind. That was the place for the story.